Excellent. Okay, so we're now recording. So if you are watching on the catch up and you're not joining us in person, a great big hello and welcome. And I was just saying, just to get all the props you can get your hands on. Okay, whatever you can get, bricks, bolster, blankets, and if you've got a yoga belt, that'll be really great. Okay. If you haven't got one, don't worry, because I won't be here for a huge amount of time. I'm just feeling the urge to get my own legs up the wall as well. Okay. So what you can do with your yoga belt, if you're using it, you can loop it up, and that just goes around your calves. Okay. And then you can bring yourself to the wall. And as I was saying, if you haven't got the space to get to the wall, then you can always put your calves on your bed or on your armchair. And then if you are using a belt around the legs, just, tighten it enough around the calves so it doesn't feel too strong. Just so you feel supported and you can relax your legs. You can keep your sitting bones a little bit away from the wall. Your arms resting out by your sides. And you're very welcome to close your eyes. Then allowing yourself just to drop into this space. Nice. So we have this time together, this 90 minutes together this evening. And just allow yourself to just come into this space. So whether you've had a busier day or a quieter day, this is your time to come into your practice, to come into presence. Just allowing yourselves to settle in, just working out any little fidgets that might be there. And you might want to take a full in-breath. And as you exhale, you can take a very soft sigh out through the mouth. And just feel free to repeat that a couple more times. You might find it more useful to place the hands on the belly, perhaps. And just allowing yourself to come into the ebb and the flow of your breath. I'm just going to share a poem with you. This is a poem by Dana Folds. Go in and in. Be the space between two selves. The vast, resounding silence in which spirit dwells. Be sugar dissolving on the tongue of life. Dive in and in, as deep as you can dive. Be infinite, ecstatic truth. Be love, conceived and born in union. Be exactly what you seek, the beloved, singing yes, tasting yes, embracing yes. Until there is only essence, the all of everything, expressing through you as you go in and turn away from nothing that you find. We'll just take another minute here. As you allow yourself just to very gently begin to resurface, you might want to start to invite just that little more conscious effort to the breath. The inhale can be like the spring and the summer. The exhale can be like the autumn and the winter. The inhale like the spring and the summer. And the exhale like the autumn and the winter. So take your time. You might want to take a big stretch through the arms. Maybe flex and point through the feet, see how you feel. You could take the feet off the wall if you like, or off your support. Maybe undoing the yoga belt from your legs. And why not? Let's just take a little bit of a flexing through the feet and a pointing through the toes. Inhale to flex, exhale to point. And taking your time, so making this very, very slow. You can hug the knees in. The knees can come quite wide towards the armpits, just whatever suits you. And just feel free to roll around a little bit from side to side. Just feeling your way into the back of the body. There's no rush. But when you feel ready, you can let yourself roll to one side. Doesn't matter what side. Take a little bit of time on that side body. And then you can come all the way back up to sit. No rush. Great. Okay, fantastic. So you can come back to sit. And feel free to use anything you like under the sitting bones. That might be a blanket. Maybe it's a little cushion. And we'll just come and sit. So remembering if sitting cross-legged isn't quite your thing tonight, that's no problem. You could be kneeling, it's really no problem. So from here, we'll just start to take some little circles with the body and keep this as free and easy as you like, okay? So you can start to lean into one side and bring the body forward and take it around. Yeah, great. You can gently curl the spine as you go back. So how about 3 or 4 times in one direction? And then you can reverse that when you're ready, okay? Just keeping the movement really curious. Maybe the eyes are closed. Great. When you feel ready, just come back to the center, pausing in the center. And then from here, we'll take the arms forward and up, a gentle lifting of the chest. In fact, you know what might be quite nice is to link the fingers and just take a nice stretch through the body. And then we'll turn to the right, gentle rotation round, finding that spiral. Inhale back up to center. So either hands can be apart or you can link the fingers and reach up. And then turning to your left all the way around. Inhale, reaching up. We'll go once more each side. Exhale. Exhale. Inhale, come all the way back up. Maybe once again, you can link the fingers, have a big old stretch. And then taking now the left hand down to the left side and that little lean over to the left. So opening through the side body. Great. Let's inhale, come back up. And then over to the other side. Exhale. Nice. Inhaling up. This time come over and we'll stay, okay, for a moment. So taking the arm over, just let that elbow bend as much as it wants to bend. And then just feel free to take a big circle if you wish, sweeping that arm in front of your face, come all the way around. Then you can reverse that. Yeah, you can reach the arm back. Gentle sweeping around. Nice. One more inhale right here. And then moving on the exhale back to center, and we'll change sides. Lovely. So you're feeling really heavy through the opposite sitting bone. Great, thanks. So just take another deep inhale right here. And then the exhale can bring us back up. Just pausing in the center. We'll just do a tiny bit on the neck whilst we're here, okay? So let's just allow the chin to drop down. The inhale can let the left ear move towards the left shoulder. Feel heavy through the right shoulder. Exhale, bring the head back down. And he moves to the other side. Nice. Yeah. Keeping the jawbone very, very soft. And then once more. Nice. Lifting the head up there, just pausing. And just listening to that steady journey of your breath. So you might be really happy working with the equal inhale, equal exhale, so known as samana breath. You might prefer this evening, seeing as it's the evening and you might be in your jammies, then you might want to lengthen the exhale just a little. Just add to where it's comfortable for you. Great. So whenever you're ready, you can let your eyes just gently open. Great. So I'm just going to turn at an angle, okay, just so you might be able to see me a bit more clearly. So this, for the first yin posture this evening, we'll come into a butterfly. Soles of the feet can be together. And then the knees falling out to the side. Okay, great. Yeah, and you've got your feet a little distance away from the groin. Now, it's up to you. I know it's quite warm this evening, but if you do want to wrap the blanket around the feet, go ahead and wrap your blanket around the feet. Or if you have the luxury of a sandbag in your vicinity, then you might want to lay a sandbag, yeah, over the feet. Okay. So that's really up to you. Okay. So sometimes that pressure there can be very pleasant. And I know that none of you are strangers to yin, okay? But if you do need to support under the knees, go ahead. And of course, that bolster can come on top of the feet as well, okay? And you can always stand the bolster on its end, okay? So, before we do anything else, sorry, I just got sidetracked there. I just wanted to invite you here just to give your feet, if you want to, you can give your feet a little squeeze. You can even work up through the inner leg there, just a gentle bit of pressure. The thumbs can come up towards the knee. And you can even walk the hands back down. Oh, you might find there's bits that feel quite tender, yeah, at various points. And if you don't, that's fine. Okay. So when you're ready, you can start to fold forwards. So we'll aim for about anything between 4 to 5 minutes here. I've got lots of time tonight. So just however you feel, start to hinge yourself forward. Perhaps your eyes are closed. Just allow yourself to drop into that space. Yeah, great. So just giving yourself all the support that you feel you need. Very, very gently. coaxing your attention to that easy, easy ebb and flow of your breath. One breath at a time. Go in and in. Be the space between two cells, the vast resounding silence in which spirit dwells. Be sugar dissolving on the tongue of life. Dive in and in as deep as you can dive. Be infinite, ecstatic truth. Be love, conceived and born in union. Be exactly what you seek. The beloved, singing yes, tasting yes, embracing yes, until there is only essence, the all of everything expressing through you as you go in and turn away from nothing that you find. So allowing your mind just to really gently trace that one breath you're on. And giving yourself this gift to explore what your anchor might be in your practice. So for some of us, it might be the breath. For others, it might be more listening to sounds that are around us. For some folks, they find using an inner mantra quite useful, just to help come back to the home base, one breath at a time. So I have the option here for you to take a final minute here. If you feel you'd like to come out of the posture, then please do. Okay, give yourself what you need. Remembering that you are completely in charge. So taking a full inhale where you are. And a full exhale. And then wherever you are, just start to bring yourself out of the posture. Take your time. Nice. Coming on out. So give yourself what you need. Okay, you might want to set off any props to the side. Maybe use the hands to help guide the legs in. And, I know that you're no strangers to this. If you'd like to, you can take that little windscreen wiper action with the shin. You might prefer to have the legs extended. Just give yourself what you need. It can often just be really nice to extend the legs and lean back into the hands just a little and just get a little open line through the front body. Okay, maybe a little wriggling of the toes. Ah, nice. Hmm. Okay, so just take your time. Let's undo this and we'll come onto the hands and knees and let's come into it gets called heart melting pose. So give yourself lots of time to get ready for this, right? So a lot of folks I teach in person quite like the bolster, which I'll show you this in a second. Well, I'll show you first actually. You may want to have a little bit of extra support under the knees. So that might be a blanket. If you don't, actually, I'll do it without the bolster first, because I get on better without the bolster. The aim of this is to bring your forehead down. You can bring the forehead onto the forearms. The knees can be reasonably wide, and you're allowing yourself to dip the heart down towards the earth. Okay. This is where some folks, if they like a bolster, they bring it under the chest, and perhaps a little block as well can be quite useful. So if I'm using the bolster, then it kind of goes sort of to my upper chest and my armpits are stretching over that bolster. And then my forehead can come down onto the block. Just so I've got some space to breathe, okay? And then you've also got the option of maybe bringing the hands into prayer pose at the back of the head. Great, and that soft melting of the chest towards the floor. Well, aim for about 3 minutes, okay, in this space. With the exhalation, this is where you may want to tap into that slightly lengthened exhale. And just seeing if that can just help cultivate that sense of softening and unraveling. Not just for the body, but especially for the mind. About halfway through. And every time you might notice the mind moving and wandering off, see what you can do to come back to your anchor. Again, perhaps you're using your breath as your anchor. Perhaps it's a really gentle inner mantra. Maybe as you inhale, you're mentally saying the word here. And as you exhale, mentally saying the word now. Breathing in here. Breathing out now. Let's just take another 2 or 3 breaths right here. And then as and when you're ready, just start to bring, release the hands if they're in prayer, bring the weight forward. You might want to press into the hands and just come up to the hands and knees. Just give yourself what you need. So for you, that might mean you're swaying maybe a little from side to side. You might want to roll through some cat-cow. Keeping that very inner space. Yeah, so keeping very quiet, very sensitive. And whenever you're ready, let's just move back to child's pose just for a moment. And come back onto the heels if that's okay for your knees. If it's not okay for your knees, just keep your hips above the knees and you can still take the same action. And we can keep this child's pose quite active, walking the hands forward, staying up on the pads of the fingers, and then maybe the forehead moves towards the mat, or maybe the forehead goes to a block. Following your inhale and following your exhale. Just another breath right here. And then when you're ready, you can just start to walk the hands back. Just take your time. And then in a moment, I'm going to invite you to come onto your belly. So I'm personally just going to remove my my blanket. And if you have those 2 bricks, yeah, then feel free to have these 2 bricks. We're just going to either lie on the front body, okay, or come into one of my favorite postures of the moment. It's been one of my faves since the autumn. It's prone penguin. Okay. So for prone penguin, you take the bricks and they get placed underneath the front of your shoulders. So imagine, let me quickly show you actually. Imagine I'm lying on my belly. The bricks should be kind of sort of here, yeah. So the top edge of the bricks kind of in line with my shoulders. My arms will be by my sides. And I quite like a block under my forehead. Okay. This means I'm not sort of squishing my face into the mat. The backs of the hands can be on the mat. So it's a little bit like you're a little penguin. Scooch along the belly, along the ice on your belly. I'm going to be here for probably like a minute or so to see what you can really soften and let go of in this shape right here. Just take another 5 or 6 breaths. Breathing in here, breathing out now. Okay, take your time. If you've been in the prone penguin there, let's remove the blocks. Let's come and rest, forehead to hands, and sway the hips around. You might even want to pick your feet off the mat. And then just gently sway your shins from side to side. Okay, so we'll make the transition into Sphinx pose. Now, if you don't want to do Sphinx today, then what I suggest instead is rolling onto your back body and then coming into a supported bridge. I'll just quickly show you that. With the supported bridge, you can have your blocks or bricks, I should say, or you might even want to have your bolster. Okay. Just if you're feeling like being on your belly is just not right for you today, yeah, then you can come into this little supported bridge. It'll be really, really nice. And of course, you can have a lot more height than what I've got. Okay, so it's really, really up to you. If you want to come to Sphinx, come onto your belly and come to Sphinx. However, I've got another suggestion. Sorry, seeing as some of you have got that lovely wall space. If you like, yeah, you can come into Sphinx, but you can do it with your shins against the wall. Okay. Just if you feel like you want that something, oh, I don't know, I just find it kind of opens up my quads a little bit more. And also I've got my feet up a little bit as well, which actually feels really nice. Okay. So I'm going to separate my feet just so you can see them a little bit more because all you can see is my head. Okay. Nice. And yeah, it might be nice for you to rest your forearms onto a block. It might not. The feet might touch together in the center there. Lovely. And just very gently finding that movement of your breath. The tips of your shoulder blades very gently resting down on your back. And every time you might notice your mind moving outwards, just see what you can do to find your anchor. What can you do to find your home base? We're about halfway through this posture. So if you feel you want to come out of the posture, then please do. Okay. If you're in Sphinx and you'd like to go into seal pose, then that's no problem. Just make sure your hands don't slip. So I'm just going to move my blanket so my hands don't go skidding off. And then you start to straighten the arms. So the arms become like posts. Shoulder blades resting on the back and just tuning in. Remember, do exit if you prefer. Yeah, no pressure. You might notice that you've created some unnecessary effort. So what can you do to unravel that a little? Easy, easy breath. So just the last half minute here. So if you find it's appropriate, maybe take a couple more breaths if you're in Sphinx, or Seal, I should say, rather. Or you might find it's ready to return to Sphinx. And as and when you're ready, you start to come on out, releasing yourself forward. So if you've been on the bridge brick, or supported bridge, I should say, you can lift the hips, push the support forward if that works, and then gently land the hips back down again. Yeah, if you've been against the wall, you might want to push yourself away from the wall, or just stay where you are. It's no problem. And then we can come into this half frog here. So you can let one leg, just let the knee slide out to the side there. Okay, so the knee comes in line, roughly in line with the hip. Nice. Allowing the inhale, the in breath, really expand the belly. And that easy exhale. Just another 2 breaths on this side. And take your time, just change legs if you're doing that half frog. So there's no rush, okay? Take your time. If you feel it's appropriate to come back to child's pose, go ahead and do that. We're going to roll through some cat cow, so you might be happier sort of staying above the knees. If you've been on the back of the body, just feel free to hug the knees in and have a good roll about. You might want to join us for the cat cow. It's up to you. Okay. But how about let's do this? Let's do this. Let's go for 3 times, and we can use sound if you wish. Yeah, so we can come back. And seeing as we're working on the summer meridian line, so it's about nourishing the heart chi this time of year. We can look at the Taoist sound as a healing sound for the heart, and it's a little bit like it's like a guttural sound. Okay, so it's like the letters H A W. It's like a ha sound. Okay, so if you feel okay doing that, go ahead. I'll do it with you. Let me do it once, yeah, so you get a sense of it. So you'll inhale, you can come up and through. Okay, so you can really make it your own. Okay. So if you want to do that, then go ahead. Right. So how about 3 times? Inhale. And you can play with the pitch, yeah? Inhale. Okay, let's come back onto the belly. We're going to get ready for what gets called broken wing. Okay, so for broken wing, we're on the front body. Maybe a little something under the head. Okay, I'm gonna bring my block under my head. I usually go take my glasses off for this one. So what we can do here, you can take your any arm, okay, whatever arm you want to go for. I'm gonna go for my right one. It's sticking out to the side there, pretty much at shoulder height. And then you can flip the arm. So if you turn the arm, yeah, so the thumb points down, and then keep rotating it inwards, yeah, so it's an inward rotation of the arm. So the thumb is pointing back, arm up towards the ceiling, back of the hand on the floor. And then from here, you can press into the other hand. In my case, it's my left. Rolling over. And then find a little bit of comfort for your legs here, okay? So the legs should just be like a support. You can always use your bolster between the knees, if you can reach it. And then with the arm here, from in my case it's the left, I might reach up towards the ceiling, might wrap it behind my back. Some folks even catch the fingers and they link the fingers behind them and they take a little opening. I think it's fun to get more out of it if I keep the arm reaching up, but you decide. Just going to be a 2-minute stay here. Nice. So allowing yourself to just really gently observe the coming and the goings of the thoughts in the mind. Allowing yourself to open to allow the changing weather. Just halfway through. Just another couple of breaths right here. Nice, everybody. So when you're ready, inhale where you are, and then exhale, slowly unwind yourself out of the shape. Beautiful. That wonderful tortoise-like transition. And you can always just stay on the front body, maybe make a little rest for your head, or just give yourself what you need. You might want to sway the hips around a little bit. And before you go for the second side, you may even want to just curl back to child's pose, just to move the spine a little before you go to the second side, okay? If you're happy to stay on your front, then of course, stay right there. Okay. Let's get ready for the second side. Um, so the other arm extends out. Lovely. Yeah, you can flip the arm so the palm turns up to see how your shoulder responds to that. And then pressing into the opposite hand, rolling yourself over. Okay, that's great. So you can use the support that you need to under your head to be very tuned into that. Yeah, bring that bolster in. Superb. Okay. So remembering everyone that if you do experience pins and needles or anything in the hands or the feet or anywhere really, that's your sign that you just need to come out of the posture and just readjust. Maybe take some movement and then see how it goes again. Okay. Opening to allow the changing weather, that internal landscape, and the weather patterns and systems that move through that inner landscape. going to share some words with you here these are from Viktor Frankl. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And in that space is our power and our freedom. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And in that space is our power and our freedom. Just take the time, there's no rush. Start to undo yourself from here, that's great. Coming onto the front body. And just lying on the front body, you can make a little rest for your head with the hands. And give yourself that gift of scanning, just really noticing how you are. And then this information that you might find as you scan can then inform your next movement. So for you, that might mean staying exactly where you are and staying really, really still. For somebody else, that might mean that you're curling back to child's pose and maybe going through that cat-cow, perhaps with the ha sound. Or maybe you want to go back to prone penguin. You know, these are just suggestions, of course. You can do whatever you think. We've done a little bit of heart opening this evening. So the next posture we will do will also be another heart opener before we go into closed postures. Okay. So that also might inform where you go. Okay. All right. So there's absolutely no rush. But when you're ready, you might want to just come back to child's pose or come to kneeling or come to sitting. And we'll just consider the next posture. Okay. So I'm thinking saddle could be one. Yay. But of course, don't worry if it's not quite your thing tonight or any night for that, or any day for that matter. What you could do instead could be like a supine butterfly, maybe something a little more restorative. That might be a nice thing to do. Okay. So for saddle, I'm thinking we could go straight into a full saddle if that works. Remember, it doesn't have to. And where you come back over the bolster, you're sitting on the heels, and you bring yourself back over that bolster, and I'd be inclined to put a little blanket under my head, okay? Okay, and settling in that. You might be happy going back without a bolster. You might be happy going straight back onto the floor. Or maybe you want to elevate the end of the bolster so you're at more of an incline. Yeah. And here we are. Okay. If you're thinking, oh, no, thanks, I really don't want to do that, then that's no problem. There's no shame in that. Yeah. You can come into a supine butterfly. Or what I quite like doing is actually just crossing my legs like I'm in a little sukhasana. And really focusing on working that recline. Okay, opening the chest. Again, this is helping us to tap into all the fascia in the front of the torso and in the back of the torso and in the arms, which is what is stimulating the heart chi, which is what we want to be kind of focusing on this time of year. Yeah. And we're doing a kind of a summer themed practice, and it actually really feels like summer, you know? Who'd have thought it? If you feel you want to release maybe with that sound, if it's working for you, you can take that inhale and once again, Nice. Just giving yourself that gift of going in and in, feeling the space between two selves. So every time you might notice your awareness move off, maybe that's just getting tangled up in those inner weather patterns. Maybe it's getting tangled up in storyline. Maybe something outside or near your space has just triggered a process or a thought. So your first step is really just to notice when your mind has moved. And just very, very gently, with much kindness, kind, loving awareness, bringing your attention back to the breath you're on. Let's take another minute here. So inhale fully. And exhale completely. Sort of find your way out of this shape. If you're reclined over the bolster in a supine Padottanasana or a butterfly, I should say, then you'll come to stand on your feet and gently roll yourself to the side. If you've been in the saddle, I think you probably know how to come out of that, but just a quick reminder, you can press into the hands, bring the head forward and press yourself back up to sitting. Okay. I trust you also. I know that you're going to find a safe way out of that posture. Okay, yeah. So if your legs are folded back, or even if they weren't folded back, once again, you might want to extend the legs. Maybe even taking, you know what you could do actually? I know this looks really lazy, yeah, which isn't a bad thing, really, is it? Yes, you can, I guess it doesn't really matter how it looks. You can just almost do like a cat cow, but sitting in this shape. So you can inhale to lift the chest, exhale to round. Really let the tailbone move under and you can curl. Inhale to lift the chest. And exhale to round. Okay, anything else you feel you need to take a little windscreen wiper though if you want to. So Mm. Stan's getting in there, coming for a cuddle. Okay. So let's again I've got an option for you. This is generally always an option, isn't there? But the next phase is going to be a forward fold. Okay. So what you could do, one option would be come forward into kind of more of a regular Paschimottanasana shape. Okay. The legs extended. You can have the feet quite wide. Yeah. And then bring yourself forward. And that might be bringing your forehead onto a block. Okay. It might mean that you've stacked up your bolster, yeah, onto a whole sort of brick setup, and you can come forward onto your bolster that way. Okay. The other option I wanted to offer you is it's more of a restorative posture, but it's the upward facing forward fold. And the reason I'm feeling a little bit drawn to it this evening is it just gets feet back up in the air. My feet are feeling so hot. I want to get my feet up. Now, what you can do with this, some people get on with the blanket roll, some people don't. Okay. So what you could do is you could make a little blanket roll like this. Okay. And it's you can have the bolster for the pelvis to rest on. Just for speed, I'm going to bring my hips onto it and drop myself backwards. Okay, you might want to lift into bridge and slide it under. Okay. So you can just have the hips supported on your bolster. And then the blanket roll goes at the crease at the top of the hip. And if you've just eaten your tea, you might not want to do this. Okay. It can put a little bit of pressure on the lower belly. But if you feel comfortable enough, you can come into the shape here. And it's like a little upward facing forward fold. Okay. If not, come into more of a regular Paschimottanasana. Nice. Yeah. And in that there, you can let the knees bend. Yeah, if you're in the upward facing forward fold. The thighs rest on that blanket. And you just let yourself hang out. Okay. We'll do anything between 2 to 3 minutes. You're in charge. If you feel like after a minute you've had enough of that upward facing forward fold, then feel free to just let go of the blanket, get rid of that, and come into a happy baby. But I'll remind you about that in a moment, okay? So stay with your breath. If you're in the upward facing forward fold, you can really invite the shoulder blades to release down. Just listening to the ebb and the flow of your breath. Okay, so we're about a minute in. We'll take 2 more minutes if that's okay with you. So what I was saying a moment ago, if you're thinking, I think that's enough in this upward facing forward fold, I get a lot of pressure into my belly. Then what you can do is you can keep the bolster under the hips, but maybe come into more of a stirrup pose. Or keep the feet in the air, being like a little supported shoulder stand. whatever shape or posture you're in. See how it feels to really send the breath into the space at the back of the heart. Just the last 30 seconds. If you do want to come out, and if you're in the upward facing forward fold or variation of, you're welcome to lift up, roll your bolster forward if you're using it, and then let yourself drop down onto the floor. Right. So if you're in like an upward facing forward fold, then I invite you now just to start to find your way out. If you're in more of a Paschimottanasana, then start to bring yourself up to sitting. And then we're all going to meet lying down, okay? So we'll be able to get ready for a supine twist. But we'll just do a tiny bit of movement first, okay, before we do that. So from here, I'm just going to roll my bolster forward with my feet. So do a tiny bit of bridge, okay, nothing much. Just going to be a pretty subtle bit of movement. Arms by the sides of the body. Feet flat to the earth. And we're considering this to be more like counter posture, yeah, more than anything else really. So from here, take an inhale just where you are. Exhale, press into the feet, roll up into a little bridge. It needn't be high. Inhale, press into your feet a little more. You might find the body opens a little. And then exhale, gently snake down through the spine. Just exploring how everything feels in your body. Inhale where you are. Exhale, press into the feet and roll up. Inhale, just be carried on that in-breath. And exhale, snake down. Rolling through the torso. Let's do this once more. Inhale. And exhale, come up. Inhale like you're being carried on the in-breath. And exhale, snake down. Oh, maybe a little windscreen wiper. We will be getting into that supine twist. That'll probably be our final posture. Okay. I'm just going to spin around. You can stay just where you are. Okay. So, supine twist. You may want to use a little folded blanket underneath your head. And it's up to you. You might also want to have something to rest your legs on. Yeah, so maybe that's going to be a bolster. Maybe it's a brick or a cushion. I think you might use a brick to rest the legs. Or you might find your legs just go to the floor with no problem. Now, when we're looking at stimulating the heart energy a little more and helping to try and stoke the inner fire and nourish the inner fire, then the plan is with a lot of this work is to try and get the knees a little bit higher up towards the right armpit, okay? If you're comfortable to cross the legs like twisted roots, I suggest crossing left leg over right and then take the legs over to the right, okay? That's just not working for me at the moment. It's just way too intense. My props were sliding away from me, so I'm going to move my blanket. Hmm. Okay. Now remember, if the left arm is kind of floating too much in the air, just either raise the legs under something, or that makes sense. Support the left arm as well. Okay. And then you could just let gravity do the work. Lovely. The eyes might be closed. And again, just coming back to what your home base might be for you. Maybe it's a breath. Maybe it's inner mantra. Maybe you're using the sensations in the body as an anchor. Perhaps you're using sounds as your anchor. Taking a full inhale and a full exhale. And another deep in breath. And this time, moving on the exhale, bring yourself back to center. Take your time. You might want to do some knee hugging or some rolling or both. And then we'll get ready for the second side, okay? So I'm personally going to shift my hips a little bit over to the right. And then I'll take my legs to the left. And remembering this can be quite a classic posture where you start getting pins and needles in the fingers. That might be alleviated simply by just realigning your head, yeah, or adjusting your arms. See how that goes, okay? Okay, it's a 2-minute thing. Just gently exploring the one breath you're on. So take your time. Inhale where you are. Exhaling completely. Inhale again. And then when you're ready, exhale back to center. You can gently hug the knees in and just give yourself anything else you feel you need, okay? And then when you're ready, we can find our way into Shavasana for a final rest. Now you might want to return to legs up the wall, okay? You might prefer to make the, if you like, that Stonehenge Shavasana. Yeah, I'll just quickly demo it. So for the Stonehenge Shavasana, you can build yourself your little henge. What with it being almost, summer solstice and everything, we can make ourselves our own little henge. Just something to get the legs up, okay? You're welcome to cover your eyes. Taking that soft, easy exhalation. As you feel the back of your body softening and releasing down into the mat. Slowly, slowly. Breathing in, please. Breathing out, please. Just to come back to these words from earlier, the beautiful words from Dana Fold. Go in and in. Be the space between two cells, the vast resounding silence in which spirit dwells. Be sugar dissolving on the tongue of life. Dive in and in, as deep as you can dive. Be infinite, ecstatic truth. Be love, conceived and born in union. Be exactly what you seek, the beloved, singing yes, tasting yes, embracing yes, until there is only essence, the all of everything expressing through you as you go in and turn away from nothing that you find. So I invite you, well, first of all, I invite you to stay there if that's what you'd like to do. Okay. If you feel like resting a little longer, it's no problem. Or you might prefer to take a lovely stretch through the body, giving yourself what you need. Maybe you're hugging the knees in. Nice little roll around. There's absolutely no rush. But you can let yourself roll to one side or find your happiest route back to sitting. As I say, you can still stay lying down if you like. And you're welcome to either close with the hands resting on the legs, maybe placing the hands on the area of the heart, on the sternum. I just like to share with you some words I heard this week from Tara Brach. That you're essentially the holder and you are the held. So your spiritual heart is holding your physical heart. And these words kind of spoke to me, especially when you feel that maybe you're the person who's holding it all together, keeping everyone in check and keeping everything moving. Sometimes you might feel that you're not held by anyone. So then to find that you are indeed the holder, but you're also the held, as your spiritual heart can hold your physical heart. You're welcome to bring the hands to Anjali Mudra if you wish. Let's take one on together to seal the practice. Exhale completely. Inhale. And may all beings know peace and know love, and be free from suffering. And may we all teach peace by example. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thanks so much, everybody.